Sophie never had to ask if Jake cared. She felt it in the way he paid attention, in the little moments that spoke louder than words, like the way he always remembered exactly how she liked her coffee. 2 sugars, a splash of almond milk, and just warm enough to drink immediately. She never had to remind him. He just knew. One evening, she casually mentioned how exhausted she was from work, and an hour later, he showed up at her doorstep with her favorite takeout and a playlist he had made just for her. For when you need to unwind, he had said, handing her the neatly packed meal. Sophie didn't think much of it at first. Maybe Jake was just kind. Maybe he was like this with everyone. But then she noticed more. Whenever she was talking, Jake wasn't just hearing her, he was listening. She could see it in the way he leaned in, the way his eyes locked onto hers, like she was the only person in the room. And weeks later, he would bring up small details she had long forgotten mentioning. "How's your coworker Emma doing? You said she was having a tough time," he asked one day, completely out of the blue. And then there were the moments of silence that spoke volumes, like the time she had a bad day but didn't feel like talking. Instead of pushing her, Jake simply sat beside her on the couch, offering quiet company. No forced words, just presence. And when she finally sighed and leaned against him, he wrapped his arm around her, as if he had been waiting, letting her know that she didn't have to carry it all alone. One night, they went out with friends. She noticed that Jake always seemed to be aware of where she was in the room. If someone interrupted their conversation, his eyes would drift back to her, as if making sure she was okay. And when another guy got a little too close to her at the bar, Jake didn't get possessive, but he did subtly step closer, placing a protective hand on her back, grounding her in a way that made her feel safe. Then there were the unspoken gestures, the way he would send her a good morning text before she even had a chance to reach for her phone, the way he would offer her his jacket before she even realized she was cold, how he'd remember that she always got anxious before a big meeting and would text her, "You got this. Call me after to tell me how amazing you were." Sophie wasn't sure when it happened, but one day she realized something. Jake never said the words, "I'm emotionally attached to you." But he didn't need to. It was in his eyes when she talked about her dreams, in the way he instinctively reached for her hand when they walked down the street, in how he never let her feel alone, even in the quietest of moments. One evening, as they sat under the stars, she turned to him and asked, "Why do you always remember the little things about me?" Jake looked at her, a soft smile playing on his lips. "Because they're not little to me." And that's when she knew he was more than just a good guy. He was emotionally attached. Now let's take a look at the signs that show your man is emotionally attached to you. 1. Emotional attachment is shown through actions, not just words. Jake never explicitly said he was emotionally attached, but his consistent actions, remembering small details, checking in on Sophie, and being present, showed his deep emotional connection. Love and care are often expressed in gestures rather than grand declarations. 2. Listening is a powerful sign of emotional investment. Jake truly listened to Sophie, remembering small details from their conversations and bringing them up later. This shows that emotional attachment isn't just about being physically present, but being mentally and emotionally engaged in someone's life. 3. A supportive presence matters more than quick solutions. When Sophie was having a rough day, Jake didn't rush to fix everything or tell her what to do. Instead, he simply sat with her, offering silent support. This teaches that sometimes emotional attachment means just being there without forcing a solution. 4. Small, thoughtful gestures show deep care. From bringing her takeout when she was tired to offering his jacket when she was cold, Jake's attentiveness demonstrated that he valued Sophie's well-being. These little acts, when consistent, build trust and emotional security in a relationship. 5. Emotional attachment includes prioritizing someone's comfort and safety. Jake subtly stepped in when another guy got too close to Sophie at the bar, not with jealousy or aggression, but with a quiet, protective presence. This shows that a truly attached partner respects boundaries while making sure their loved one feels safe. 6. Checking in without being asked is a sign of deep emotional connection. Jake's small texts, like checking in before Sophie's big meeting or asking about her coworker, showed that he was always thinking about her, even when they weren't together. People who are emotionally attached naturally make an effort to stay involved in each other's lives. 7. Consistent effort builds emotional security. Emotional attachment isn't about grand gestures once in a while. It's about consistency. Jake's steady presence, thoughtfulness, and ability to anticipate Sophie's needs made her feel secure and valued. A healthy relationship is built on ongoing effort, not occasional romantic moments. 8. True connection is felt in the little moments. Sophie's realization that the little things Jake did weren't little at all highlights an important truth. Emotional attachment is built on everyday interactions. The way someone looks at you, listens to you, and makes you feel safe often speaks louder than words. 9. Emotional attachment deepens over time with trust and understanding. Jake and Sophie's connection grew stronger because of their shared experiences and emotional support. Trust isn't built overnight. It develops through consistency, empathy, and mutual respect. 10. Love is about making someone feel seen, heard, and valued. In the end, Sophie knew Jake was emotionally attached because he made her feel important, not just with his words, but with his actions. A strong emotional connection means making someone feel truly valued in every interaction. As Sophie sat across from Jake in the quiet cafe, watching him stir his coffee absent-mindedly, a realization settled over her like a warm embrace. It wasn't the grand gestures or poetic words that defined their connection. It was the way he always seemed to know what she needed, sometimes before she even did. It was in the little things, the way he listened, the way he showed up, the way he made her feel safe without making a show of it. Jake wasn't just there, he was present, in every way that mattered. And in that moment, as he slid her favorite pastry across the table, without asking, she knew. Emotional attachment wasn't about possession or labels, it was about feeling understood, cherished, and effortlessly at home with someone. She smiled, picking up the pastry, and Jake smirked knowingly. No words were needed, because sometimes love speaks the loudest in silence.